You know, I'm thinking about Jesus and the many times the master teacher had spent time with the disciples, and he's saying, I want these guys never to forget this. When you think of the most important message that Jesus gave his disciples on leadership, it was a word picture. It was in a setting, his last time with him, that they'd never forget. And I know you've thought about it, you've read it. I've seen it at weddings where they are in the middle of the wedding ceremony, the couple washes each other's feet. But man, as I read this story, I said, Lord, give me something new. And as I read this, it said he rises from supper and laid aside his garments and took a towel and girded himself. And he poureth water into a basin and began to wash the disciples' feet and to wipe them with the towel which he was girded. Picture with me a moment. It's hard because our culture, we think differently, but consider this. The disciples had perhaps never seen Jesus without his robe on. He takes that robe off in their midst. That in itself is something they've never seen. It's like you've gone to church and all you've seen is your pastor in a three-piece suit. And you drive up to his farm one day and he's got bib overalls and you're going, what? He takes that robe off and he girds himself with a towel. He girds himself with a towel, but before he washes their feet, he even takes that towel that he girds himself with off. In a sense, Jesus Christ has stripped himself in front of his disciples. You talk about an act of humility. And he says, I want you to remember this act of servanthood. Boy, man, when I read that, I thought, how can we be servants? And I think one of the greatest ways that we serve is when we strip ourselves of our identity, our self-image, our pride, our ego, and say, that's not important to me. I'm going to lay that robe, that identity aside. I have come to minister to people. Men, I want to challenge you. Who are you going to minister to this week? How are you doing stripping your robe and ministering to your wife? How do you wake up each day and say, how can I serve others? It's a beautiful picture because it's the joy of life. Is he came not to be ministered unto, but to minister and give his life a ransom for many. I pray that you and I will grow in our wisdom and knowledge of what it really means to wash others' feet, to really be a servant. God bless you.